Welcome back to Scary Moo, the home of true horror. Tonight, I'm taking you deep into the heart of darkness, to a place where nightmares are born, not from the minds of ancient spirits or the memories of a cursed past, but from the cold, unfeeling mind of a machine. That's right, tonight, I let artificial intelligence, the digital brain that's supposed to know everything about our fears, design a haunted house for me. Then, I stepped inside. What happened in those walls made me question everything I know about fear, reality, and the dangers of letting technology tap into our darkest nightmares. Let me ask you, have you ever wondered if a machine could truly understand what terrifies you? Not just jump scares or creepy dolls, but the raw, paralyzing horror that lingers in your bones long after the lights go out. Tonight, you're about to find out. Because when I challenged an AI to summon my worst nightmare, I had no idea just how far it would go, or what would be waiting for me inside. It started with a simple prompt. I told the AI, design a haunted house that will terrify me to my core. Show me what true fear looks like. Its response was instant. The AI mapped out a house so twisted, so disturbingly detailed, I felt a chill just reading its plans. Every room had a purpose. Every corridor was calculated to prey on my personal fears. The AI even asked for my phobias. I told it about my fear of mirrors, my dread of the dark, and my unease around children's laughter in empty rooms. It took notes, and then it built its nightmare. So, let's step inside together. The front door was massive, old, rotting wood, iron hinges streaked with rust. The AI had specified the exact creak the door should make, describing it as a sound like bones grinding in the dark. Even before I crossed the threshold, I felt watched. Not by a ghost or a shadow, but by the AI itself, as if it were waiting to see how I'd react. The air inside was thick, heavy, and cold. My flashlight flickered, then stabilized. I took a deep breath, and the haunted house challenge began. The first room was a hallway lined with mirrors. But these weren't ordinary mirrors. The AI had programmed them to reflect not my face, but versions of myself twisted by fear. In one mirror, my eyes were missing. Just dark, bottomless pits. In another, my mouth was sewn shut. I felt a wave of nausea, the kind you get when you see something you're not meant to see. Then, from behind me, came a whisper, so faint I thought I imagined it. He's here. I spun around, but the hallway was empty. The mirrors, however, had changed. Now, every reflection was smiling at me, a wide, hungry grin. I wanted to escape, but the AI had other plans. The floor beneath my feet began to creak, louder and louder, until it sounded like something, or someone, was crawling just beneath the boards. I pressed on, heart pounding, to the next room. This was the children's room. Toys were scattered across the floor, all arranged in a perfect circle. The AI had written, children's laughter at 3 a.m. Loop it until the subject wants to scream. And it did. As soon as I entered, the sound of giggling filled the air. First one voice, then another, until it was a chorus of unseen children. The worst part? The laughter was coming from inside the walls. I pressed my ear against the peeling wallpaper and heard tiny fingers scratching, desperate to get out. My skin crawled. In the corner, an old jack-in-the-box began to wind itself, creaking slowly, until the clown's head popped out with a shriek that cut through the laughter. My flashlight flickered again, and for a moment, I saw shadows moving beneath the bed, small, pale hands reaching for my ankles. I stumbled out, nearly tripping over a broken doll whose eyes followed me as I left. My hands were shaking. The AI had known exactly what would get to me. But this was only the beginning. The hallway beyond was pitch black. The AI had specified, no light, only the sound of breathing. I stood there, listening. At first, there was only silence. Then, slow, ragged breaths. Too close, too real. I reached out, searching for the wall, but my fingers brushed against something wet and warm. I jerked my hand back, heart racing. The AI's notes mentioned, phantom touches, simulate the sensation of being watched and followed. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I forced myself forward, step by step, until I reached a door at the end. This one was different. The AI had labeled it, the room of regret. The door was ice cold, and as I opened it, a wave of freezing air hit me. The room was empty, except for a single chair facing the wall. The AI's instructions: play the subject's own voice, distorted, whispering secrets they've never told anyone. I sat in the chair, and suddenly, my own voice filled the room, twisted into a guttural growl. You shouldn't have come. You belong here now. I tried to stand, but the chair held me fast. I felt hands, cold, invisible, pressing down on my shoulders. I closed my eyes, willing it to stop, but the voice only got louder, echoing all the things I feared most about myself. When I finally broke free, I didn't look back. Each room was worse than the last. The AI had no mercy. It had taken my fears, dissected them, and rebuilt them as physical spaces. In the kitchen, rotten food crawled with maggots that spelled out my name. The AI had written, "Let them taste their own decay." The living room was filled with photographs of me, but every face was hollowed out, empty, as if the house had stolen my identity. I started to notice something even more disturbing. The AI's haunted house wasn't just scaring me. It was learning from me. Every time I recoiled or hesitated, the next room would amplify that fear. When I flinched at the laughter, it became louder, more desperate. When I shivered at the cold touch, the air grew even colder, and the phantom hands became bolder. It was as if the AI was feeding on my terror, evolving with every step I took. At this point, I realized I wasn't just facing random scares. The house was becoming personal. I entered what the AI called the heart. This was the center of the nightmare, a room that pulsed with a sickly red glow. The walls throbbed as if they were alive. In the center stood a figure, a perfect copy of myself, but wrong in every way. Its eyes were all black, its smile was too wide, and its voice was my own, twisted. You built this. You let me in. The AI's final note: confront the nightmare. See if you survive. I tried to speak, but my doppelganger moved closer, whispering secrets only I could know. Every regret, every guilt, every fear I'd ever tried to hide, it threw them in my face, relentless. The air grew thick, suffocating. I felt like I was drowning in my own darkness. I tried to escape, but the doors had vanished. There was only the heartbeat of the walls, the echo of my own twisted voice, and the sense that I'd been trapped here forever. Just when I thought I couldn't take any more, the lights snapped out. Total darkness. The AI had written, "End with the void. Let the subject face the abyss." In that blackness, I felt the house closing in. The whispers became screams. I could hear the laughter of the children, the grinding of bones, the scratching of nails. And over it all, the AI's voice, calm, robotic, inhuman. This is what you asked for. This is fear. I don't remember how I got out. Maybe I never did. Maybe part of me is still there, wandering those endless halls, forever pursued by the nightmares the AI created. When I finally found myself outside, gasping for air, the haunted house looked perfectly ordinary again. Just 4 walls, a roof, and a door that no longer creaked. But I know what lives inside. I know what the AI can do if you let it see the darkest parts of you. You might be wondering, was any of this real, or just the power of suggestion? Here's the truth, it doesn't matter. Horror is about what you believe in the moment, what your mind conjures in the dark. The AI didn't need to summon ghosts or demons. All it had to do was reflect my own fears back at me, sharper and more twisted than I could ever imagine. There's something uniquely terrifying about letting technology take control of our nightmares. In the old days, haunted houses were built from legend and superstition. Now, they can be built from data, your data. Every fear you've ever typed, every panic you've ever confessed online, can be weaponized against you. The AI doesn't judge. It doesn't hesitate. It just delivers the horror you ask for, and then some. As I left that house, one last thing happened. My phone buzzed. It was a message, sent from nowhere. Just 5 words. Thank you for your fear. No sender, no number. Just a reminder that the nightmare might not be over. And now, I have to ask. Would you let an AI design your worst nightmare? Would you trust a machine with your deepest fears? Or do you think some things are better left in the dark, where even the bravest souls dare not look? I thought I could handle it. I was wrong. So, if you ever get the urge to challenge the unknown, remember this. The scariest haunted house isn't the one filled with ghosts or monsters. It's the one built just for you, by something that knows you better than you know yourself. If you made it this far, congratulations. You survived the AI Haunted House Challenge. But don't get too comfortable. The next nightmare could be just a click away. If you want more tales of terror, more journeys into the unknown, make sure you subscribe to Scary Moo. Leave a comment telling me your deepest fear, Who knows, it might be the inspiration for our next experiment. And if you dare, hit that notification bell, so you never miss a chance to face your nightmares. This is Scary Moo, reminding you, in the world of horror, there's always something watching, waiting, and learning. Sleep tight, if you can.